Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Mr. Zombie here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if this video hits 500 likes by the end of the week, we will continue this what if. Thirdly, if you didn't know, only 41.3% of you guys are subscribed to us, so please, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into the story. Several news reporters were standing in front of the school, hounding nearly every student that approached them. Shinso was also accosted by the newsmongers. "Excuse me, young man," a reporter called. "What's it like having the #1 hero as your teacher?" Shinso didn't bother to grace the woman with a response. He simply walked past them, giving off a cold presence as he entered the campus. Some of the reporters tried to follow, but the gate slammed shut. It scared the reporter. Shinso couldn't help but laugh. The class was just as rowdy as any other day. This somewhat annoyed Shinso. Aizawa opened the door and everyone became quiet. He mentioned that he reviewed the footage from the Heroes vs. Villains training, singling out the few that needed improvement. Also, you need to pick a class representative. I don't care how you do it, just get it done before I finish my nap. The insomniac hero zipped himself into his sleeping bag. After some immense chatter, a voting session occurred. This resulted in an unwilling Midoriya as the class rep with Yaoyorozu as his second-in-command. Shinso couldn't help but show his displeasure at this. Yaoyorozu seemed like a good pick for a class rep position, seeming rather logical and detail-oriented. The day ticked on like any other. Classes were dull, President Mike's English was particularly annoying, but lunchtime eventually came around. Shinso got his food quickly and miraculously found a somewhat secluded spot to sit. He had just relaxed into his seat and was eating his meal when someone sat down next to him. "Hey there, Shinso! How you been, man?" The purple-haired boy seemed silent for a moment as he scowled at the lightning bolt blonde. "Who are you again?" "I'm Denki Kaminari. I teamed up with Zero during hero training yesterday." "Oh, yeah, now I remember." A smirk came across Shinso's face. "You lost pretty badly against Yaoyorozu and that pervert." Don't remind me." The two were quiet for a moment. "I'd rather talk about the turnabout you pulled against Todoroki. Every one of us thought for sure that the battle would have ended then and there." "Is that so?" "Yeah. So, how did you get him to stop anyway? I couldn't see what you did." "You really want to know?" "Yeah." Kaminari's eyes became glazed over and white. Shinso smiled again. "It's a bit difficult for me to use my quirk on those who aren't very talkative, but all I need is one opening. Flick yourself on the forehead." Kaminari did so, snapping free from Shinso's control. The two became silent again. Shinso felt Kaminari staring at him. It got annoying very quickly. "Do you need something, Kaminari?" "Dude, is Aizawa your dad or something? You look kinda like him." "What? No, that would be like saying that President Mike is your dad just because you're both blonde and loud." An alarm began to sound, quickly hushing the chatter and commotion of the entire cafeteria. Panic surged throughout the student body as they began to stampede through the halls. Shinso was body checked and shoved as he was forced through the hallway, almost being forced to the floor a number of times. He was able to fight his way to a wall. Shinso didn't even know what was going on. "Everyone listen to me!" Ida's commanding voice resonated across the crowd. "It's just the media outside that tripped the alarms. We are students of UA High. We should be acting more rationally and calm in situations like this." The ruckus died down quickly, and order was restored. That evening, Shinso went to Aizawa's place. Something about the false alarm didn't sit right with the young man, and he needed to talk to his mentor about it. The pro hero opened the door upon hearing the knocking. He was wearing pajama-like clothes with a cup of coffee in his hands. "Oh, Shinso, I didn't expect to see you at this hour. Can we talk, Sensei?" Aizawa stepped aside to let a student in. The two moved to the dining room. Shinso sat at the table while Aizawa grabbed a mug from the cupboard. "You take cream in your coffee, right?" "Yes, sir." Aizawa handed Shinso the drink before sitting down. "What's on your mind, kid?" "What really set off the alarms at school today?" The older man is silent for a long while. Shinso can tell his mentor is thinking, but the young man couldn't get a read on what could be going through the teacher's head. "Some documents were stolen." Aizawa's voice was cold and to the point. "We're still looking into it, but it's nothing you need to worry about." Shinso leered at Aizawa. "Is that all you're going to say?" Aizawa closed his eyes as he took a drink from his dirty bean water. Even after he was done drinking, he left Shinso's question unanswered. "I see." Shinso stood up and left the apartment. He left his coffee on the table, untouched. Aizawa returned to grading papers, internally conflicted with how that conversation went. A couple days passed. Shinso had more conversations with Kaminari, much to Shinso's chagrin. Midoriya even summoned the courage to talk to Shinso, asking about his quirk. The purple-haired teen didn't tell Midoriya everything, but he still answered his questions. The insomniac student actually found the nervous green-haired boy to be competent company. Shinso thought Midoriya's analysis of quirks and countermeasures was both impressive and frightening. During Heroics 101, Aizawa announced that the class would be going to an off-campus location for rescue training. There would be another pro hero there to assist in the training. Everyone was instructed to get into their costumes and get on the bus. "Everyone, I've been waiting for you." The pro hero 13, wearing her signature astronaut suit, stood before Class 1A after they arrived at the unforeseen simulation joint. 13 began to explain the purpose of the USJ. "Each of the zones in this facility will teach you how to utilize your quirks to aid those in a disaster situation. Even if your quirks can be used to do great good, they can also do great harm when used inappropriately. If you're not careful, you could do more harm than good." Before the training could go underway, a purple-black mist began to form and grow down in the central area of the USJ. A massive horde of people stepped out of the mist. One of the people is a young man with light blue hair and many hands attached to him. There's a creature standing next to the man, a beastly being with a bird face and his brains exposed. The danger was only realized when Aizawa put on his goggles. "Stay back, those are real villains. 13, protect the students and get them out of here." "Everyone, back to the bus!" The space hero led the way for the students. Midoriya and Shinso hung back for a moment, watching Aizawa fight. "This is no time to be analyzing, you two! Let's go!" The two curious students ran to catch up with the class. The black-purple mist began to blow in the class's way. A figure seemed to rise and form from the mist, glowing yellow eyes staring down at 13 and 1A. "We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite for us to invite ourselves here, but isn't this a fitting place for the #1 hero to draw his last breath?" Before 13 could make a move, Kirishima and Bakugo rushed at Kurogiri. Although their attack was strong, it had little to no effect on the villain. 13 tried to draw in the villain with her quirk, but Kurogiri opened a gate behind her. She fell victim to her own power and was torn apart. The smoke-like essence turned violent and began to encompass everyone. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes over the hard facts of the anime presented. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we also have a third channel called We the Celestial Naruto What If. We the Celestial Naruto What If is mainly focused on our Naruto What If series. So if you're interested in content like this, please go check the description below, or click the eye icon at the top right corner. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the story. Shinso was overcome by an intense sensation of falling. He hit the ground hard, landed on his chest and winded him for a moment. Shinso quickly stood up and took in the surroundings. The building he was in was slanted and half buried. He looked out one of the windows and saw more buildings in similar condition. The young man continued to observe his surroundings, keeping an eye out for his classmates or the villains. Shinso saw a large swarm of villains congregate in a single area. He stealthily made his way over there. Todoroki was on the offensive, keeping most of the attackers at bay with his ice blasts. However, some of them were getting smart and were able to avoid the attacks. Shinso rushed into the fray, skating downhill on the ice. A flying kick connected to the face of one of the thugs. Shinso knocked out another villain with a roundhouse kick before the first opponent even hit the ground. The two stoic students spent the next several minutes taking down the rest of the hired muscle. Shinso and Todoroki approached one of the frozen thugs. The frozen thug stared at UA students in fear. "How can you be this strong?" "We were accepted into UA for a reason. It just proves your incompetence that all of you can't handle two teenagers." Shinso got right in the man's face. "You probably only have a few short minutes before hypothermia sets in and your body begins to shut down. Why don't you do something useful today and answer my questions?" "I don't know anything, I swear!" The thug's eyes became glazed over and his body went slack. Nod your head for yes, shake your head for no. Is the man with the hands the leader of this outfit? The thug nodded. Is the target you're hunting here? The thug shook his head. Are there more of you in the other zones? The thug nodded. Are you going to rethink your life choices after this is said and done? Another nod. Go to sleep for 8 hours. We should find the others. Agreed. They make their way back to the center of the USJ. The sight was horrifying. Aizawa was pinned under the massive bird-faced monster that the handman called Nomu. Blood was spilling down the pro hero's face and his arms were broken and twisted in unnatural ways. Shinso was aghast as his feet refused to move. Fear gripped his chest like a vice as he wondered if he was going to lose his mentor. 4 gunshots rang out. The League's leader cried in pain as the Kurogiri shielded him for more rounds. All Might, with an expression of pure rage instead of his signature smile, rushed in and saved Aizawa from the monstrous Nomu. After Aizawa's unconscious body was handed off to Midoriya, Sue, and Mineta, the fight between the Nomu with Kurogiri and All Might began in full force. Shinso just stood on the sidelines, even as all the other students left the area. Fear and rage was coursed through him. Shinso looked in the direction of the League of Villains leader. The handman was completely alone, distracted as he watched the fight. Shinso broke into a dead sprint at the villain, driving his fist into the villain's chest. Several more punches were thrown and connected before the handman grabbed Shinso's mask. The mask turned gray and crushed into ash. Shinso jumped back at what happened. The sensation of falling overcame the young man again. He began to fall faster and faster through the looped warp gate. The dark laughter of Kurogiri surrounded and echoed around him. The warp gate quickly turned sideways, throwing Shinso into a wall. The wall broke inward as Shinso was slammed into it, face first. Blood began to run down his broken nose. He fell several feet into the ground, hitting it hard. Shinso cried out in anguish as his shoulder dislocated upon landing. After he got his mind set right from getting his butt kicked, Shinso made his wise choice and retreated. The villains were eventually defeated. Kurogiri and the handman escaped, but Nomu was captured. Since Shinso's injuries were minor compared to the others, Recovery Girl patched him up quickly. The students were given 2 days off to recover. On the evening of the second day, Shinso got a call from the hospital. Hello? Is this Hitoshi Shinso? Yes, ma'am. What do you want? Shout to Aizawa just woke up. He wants to see you. Shinso asked for the address and bolted there. Shinso was escorted to his teacher's room. Anxiety was slowly building inside the young man. The nurse paused once they arrived at the door. He might be a bit out of it because of the medication, so keep that in mind as he says anything off. She opened the door and stepped aside to let Shinso inside. It took Shinso to see Aizawa bandaged up more than a mummy. The soft beeping of a heart monitor filled the room, keeping the silence at bay. Aizawa? Shinso sounded meeker than usual. The older man's head turned slightly in Shinso's direction. I heard you went up against Shigaraki. Shinso deduced that you must have been the handman. That was incredibly stupid of you. You could have gotten killed. I saw an opening, sir. I had to take it. And what would have happened if you had been killed? Aizawa suddenly sat up straight and the heart monitor picked the pace. Did you know what Shigaraki's quirk was before jumping in? He destroyed my elbow by touch alone. Had you or any of the students had gotten hurt or worse while I was out of the fight? The injured man paused to compose himself and to catch his breath. Shinso was in shock at the sudden anger from his teacher. Aizawa laid back in his bed. The heart monitor slowed its pace. I don't know what I do. There's a long pause of near silence as the two men are in their own thoughts. Are you in any pain, Aizawa? It comes and goes. Aizawa's body becomes more lax as Shinso's quirk takes hold. Get some sleep and recover. I'll see you later. Shinso watched his mentor go into a deep sleep before leaving the hospital. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to say before this video ends. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video and the editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that's in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for more members to join us. That's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have a fantastic day.